And we had a chance to communicate. But somehow I didn't know what story to tell you. Now another association. This is probably the most powerful association. So 7 hours watching you standing at the, I couldn't sit because you probably couldn't see me. I was hoping you might be able to see me, even though your eyes wouldn't close. I don't know if what you saw, but they didn't blink anymore. Your just eyes were wide open, and I every once in a while I would pull the eyelids down and hope that they were moistening your eyes, and look at you and trying to see if there was any sign that you could hear me, or are you still alive, or what's going on. And the machine said your heart was still beating, and that your blood pressure your heart rate was very rapid, but aside from that, your blood pressure was not too bad. It was within the realm of possibility that you might recover. And then, after sitting there about 3 hours, maybe it was 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe it was 4 hours, suddenly I start seeing your eyebrows going up and down. Looking at your eyebrows, they're going up and down. And the attendant walks in, I say, well, look at this, he's moving his face muscles. The attendant looks at me with no emotion at all. Callous, he says, reflexes, only reflexes. It'll stop in a while. So that really was very painful to hear that, Robert. I'm looking at you and watching your eyebrows, they're going up and down. So I remembered what happened when Mother died, and I called from Israel and I said to Mother, first of all, I told her everything I wanted to say, and I promised her I would take care of Robert. And then I said, Mother, and she had an oxygen mask on, so she couldn't answer me, because she already had a breakdown of most of her systems. She was basically maybe an hour away from her death or something. And I said to her, Mother, if you hear what I'm saying, take Robert's arm and squeeze it 3 times or something like that. And you know something? She did that. I told Robert, go over to her, and she took his arm and she squeezed his arm. So Robert knew about this system that we had for communication. He knew about that system. And when I saw his eyebrows moving, I reminded him. And I said, Robert, I went over to his face, and I remember, I think I kissed his forehead, kissing your forehead, and I'm saying to you, Robert, if you hear what I'm saying, please, now I see you moving your eyebrows. Maybe you're trying to say something. And I put my hands on his eyes, his eyelids. I moved them around and I put it on and I showed him what I was doing. I said, look, Robert, I'm squeezing my eyes shut. And I squeezed my eyelids shut. I said, Robert, if you hear me, please squeeze your eyes, your eyelids, so I could see that you hear me. And you know, he did it. He squeezed his his eyelids. Robert, I see you squeezing your eyelids. That's wonderful. I hope you hear me. And again, I don't know what I said. I kept all night long, I kept talking to you. I keep talking to you, and I'm singing your songs of your life, and I'm reminding you of the people that gave you love, even though you never really found a wife. But I'm reminding you about your girlfriends, about Margie. I didn't remember Margie's name, but I remember about Margie and Amy and Priscilla. And I'm reminding you about the people, and especially Priscilla. I think she was Irish, and you used to sing a lot Irish songs when you thought about her. You used to sing, Irish eyes are smiling, and so I tried to sing that song for you, things like that. And this went on for, I don't know how long, it seemed like a long time. And then later on I said, Robert, And I put my hands on his face, and I squeezed my face muscles. And I said, Robert, look what I'm doing in my face. I'm making funny faces. If you hear me, can you do that? And you know, Robert, you did it. You're doing it. You're making those faces. You're making those faces. And I'm so happy to see that. And I kept going, talking to you and hoping you hear what I'm saying. I keep going. There's a possibility, will you recover? But they already told me, the doctors, the attendants, basically all said the same thing, he's dying. He's dying. So I knew that, and yet I kept doing these things. I keep doing these things. Till finally the morning comes, 8 o'clock in the morning, just the time when the doctor arrives. And almost on cue, I don't know how it happened, but at that point your heart stopped. At that point your heart stopped. And a young lady, a doctor comes in, tells me his heart stopped. If there's anything else you want to do while you're with him, do it now. And she asked me, we can bring him back to life. Should we do it? We need your permission. And I said, well, if you bring him back to life, is there going to be brain damage from all this that happened? She said, probably yes. Because already his kidneys had stopped functioning, and your kidneys had stopped, and you were on a respirator, you weren't breathing anymore on your own, and your heart stopped, and they already knew you had brain damage from something like this 10 years ago, because you had a fungus infection in your blood at that point, and you almost died from that. So this is basically the same thing, infection in your blood that's all over your body. And I remember a conversation we had about a month ago, maybe 6 months ago, I don't know. And I asked you one day, Robert, with all these pains you're having, because it was so hard you had those hip operations and you couldn't sit up in a wheelchair. You had to be in like a lounge chair type situation. I said, with all these pains, Robert, would you rather be alive or not? And you said you'd rather not be alive. So I remembered that, and I put it all together, and I said, okay, don't bring him back. I said, don't bring you back, Robert. And now you are dead. And now a month has gone by, and I guess the initial emotional reaction is passing away. And I'm not just bursting into tears like I did a few times, but I'm just talking to you about these things. And now, okay, back to the dream. I'm watching you and Mother have this conversation. And there's this poem that comes to mind. And maybe somehow, there's one other detail. After the face things you did stopped, then some time went by, but before your heart stopped, after your face stopped moving, I had less hopes. So I sat down, I remember, next to you, because I had been standing most of the night. Remember, I was standing almost the whole night. And then, but I was all the time with my right hand holding your left hand. Even though I knew that you were right-handed, but I couldn't get to your right hand because there were all that machinery on the other side of the bed. So I sat there and held your left hand in my hand. I held my fingers in my palm against your palm. And then suddenly, at one moment, I still don't know whether what was really happened or not, but I feeling your middle finger rubbing against my palm. I still don't know if it was you did it or was it just a reflex or what. But I remember it happened. It's the last thing that you did, whether you did it with a will or not. But it is something you did. I'm pretty sure, but of course I'll never ever know. So there's another moment that I forgot. Association to prologue of Nikute Maharana, Nachman Bresov's collected essays again. Anamnesis, the Torah. They say the Torah will be forgotten. They say Robert Wepner will be forgotten. A life that, without too much accomplishment. You taught school a few years, but in college, you were a great, very successful athlete in high school. Very sociable, lots of friends. Basketball was your main thing. But also pole vaulting, that's where you ruined your hips. Track, I don't know what else you did, football. And then in college, I saw your college record. You had pretty crappy grades, and all the time you wanted to be taking biology classes, which didn't make any sense. If you had just been happy being a phys ed teacher, you could have had a nice life. But no, you pushed yourself. You wanted to compete with your brother Franklin to be a doctor. Like I went to medical school. I want to go to medical school. So you pushed yourself into courses you couldn't handle. You needed the drugs. Push yourself, keep yourself up. In the end, big fiasco, poor grades, kicked out of the MA program in biology. And then after that, no real job, substantial job. And you made some pictures, not great art, but you kind of like a Van Gogh type thing, your own kind of art. In some ways, it's good. I don't know. Maybe somebody will look at this and see if it's good. So, your life. I lost track of what I'm trying to say here. I got off on a tangent. But that's what... Anamnesis, right. Torah shali hakol bechinot. Nachman said, my whole Torah is associations, bechinot. Because he's talking about the upward path here, for integrating monuments of awareness, gestalts, into bigger and bigger, more encompassing gestalts, or monads, the whole monadology theory of Leibniz and all that stuff. The ascending path, the right side of the tree of life. Okay.